there. Welcome to TalkBack Live. Thank you for tuning in today. I have a very special guest for you today. The clip that you saw on the intro is the same one that we run every episode of TalkBack Live. That's blackgirlfilmschool.com. Be sure and go to that website if you have an interest in filmmaking or acting and have any interest. They have a group of experts that be happy to introduce you into the world of filming or directing, acting, cinematography, or anything like that. If you have an interest, simply go to their website at blackgirlfilmschool.com. Thank you for tuning in to TalkBack Live. I'm so excited to have a very special guest that I'd like to introduce you to today. And we've been expecting him actually a few weeks earlier, but unfortunately we could not get the dates together. But I have him here with me today, live from Brockton, Massachusetts. Please welcome my special guest, award-winning director and teacher, Noube Rateau. Hi, Noube. Good to see you today.
Thank you so much. I know it's been a long time coming, but thank you so much for being on. It's my pleasure. It's my honor. Thank you so much.
Yes, very, very good to finally have you on TalkBack Live. We're going to talk about filmmaking, and you're also an expert on filmmaking, documentaries. You're award-winning director, and we're going to just kind of get some really good information from you today. You're coming to us live from Brockton, Massachusetts. You're also from the area of my producer, Keith Hayes. You're a very good friend of Keith Hayes, so we want to welcome you to TalkBack Live. You're president of Noube Productions, and you're alumni of also Bridgewater State University, right?
Yes.
And so we're going to let you loose and talk about all of your adventures in filmmaking and documentaries. It seems like you are a very big proponent of giving voice to the voiceless, right? So let us start with some of your documentaries. And you also strongly believe, from doing a little bit of research on you, Noube, you strongly believe in educating the community on real life situations and inner city youth, because you're also a teacher, right? So tell us about some of your, where did you start? Which was the very first documentary that you worked on? Can you go back and take us to the very beginning?
Oh man, I mean, the first documentary, it's free. The first official documentary, I never can really say where I officially started, because I guess I officially started in college, just doing smaller little projects that kind of address, different social issues. We did a smaller project on Obama being elected the first Black president. We did a project on Haiti during the earthquake. We called it 453. So, I started doing smaller little documentaries, more features in college. And then I noticed the impact it was having on people. And it really kind of gave me the confidence to do longer and longer pieces. I guess our first kind of award-winning documentary, or the first that kind of got national recognition, was the one we did on drug addiction. It was called Silence. And we talked about how, drugs in the city and in the inner city and even in the suburbs, it's an issue that no one really wants to talk about. And it's funny how we did that one in 2012. And now you look at 10 years later, it's a subject now where, people are willing to talk about and willing to say, something where it was kind of embarrassing to say, so-and-so had a drug issue, or was having an issue with maybe the alcoholism and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But now it almost seems like it's an issue where, people are talking about it. People are talking about, other healthier things you could do other than drugs. And the world has just changed so much. I mean, think about it's even marijuana being legal now, and how people see the drug issue, see that people need help rather than putting them in jail. And I guess the new fight now is mental health. It's kind of that new wave. But our drug documentary Silence was probably our first one. We had national recognition. That was our first film festival that we won. We actually won the Urban Film Festival in Philadelphia that year. And then from there, we just did, what are some topics that are affecting the inner city? And our next documentary we did after that was Step Up. It was our documentary on fatherhood. And I've always said that's our foundation documentary. I felt that documentaries where I was able to grow personally, this as documentarian, as an editor, as a videographer, really go to the next level. So we did one on fatherhood. Then after that, we did one on guns after the, unfortunate shootings that are still going on to this day. Rest in peace to the Buffalo victims that happened last week. We did one on guns called The Culture. And then our first Emmy nominated documentary was on sports and how sports athletes have a tough time maybe after their career is over. What do they do next? How do you find success after sports? And some people in the documentary found success. Other people are not doing so well right now. So one thing about our documentary is that it's real, it's uncomfortable, but the goal of the documentary is to show empathy and perspective. We're not in the business of choosing sides. We're not in the business of, going to political left or right. We're in the business of telling people stories in an entertaining, articulate way and inform the viewers and then educate them on different issues. And then you can make your own perspectives and opinions.
Right. So it seems you have your finger on the pulse of actually what's going on with social issues in the community. So whether it's, like you say, if it's sports, and actually not just sports, but actually how to take it to the next level, giving insight on business insights on sports, how to actually represent oneself, not just being able to, like they say, just shut up and just dribble. You want athletes to know how to represent themselves in the business realm as well, teaching them things like that. That's great. Keeping your finger on the pulse in whatever realm you find yourself in, and certainly knowing how to represent oneself in one's own community and things like that. Later in the show, I'm going to have you talk about your very special documentary, I Am You, which has created quite a buzz all over the United States and all over the world, actually, when you go and talk about immigration in America and how it has affected all of us all over the world, and how it has become decentralized. And it really, that's going to be coming up on the second half, because that's a lot to talk. We're going to get to that in the second half. But tell us, how was it for you getting funded when you first started out with these projects?
It wasn't easy, and nor do I want a pity party about that. It wasn't easy, but I understand that, who am I? Who am I to ask someone for money when I haven't proven myself yet? So it wasn't, looking back, I'm 33 now. When I started doing documentaries at 21, myself and Will Madero, we co-directed a few documentaries, our last three. But, we funded it ourselves. We were 2 years of doing weddings and all different events without paying ourselves for 2 years. And that all went to the documentary. It all went towards equipment. We're blessed now, where I could say my last three documentaries, we've been able to fundraise pretty successfully. Good people around the community, like Keith, who are willing to really support different projects. We've been blessed, but I've always said, if you don't invest in yourself,
right,
hell is going to invest in you.
Right,
your own investment. So our first 4 documentaries, we invested in ourselves. And we're able to do it that way. Now we've been successful applying for grants, successful doing, renting out auditoriums and selling out shows. So it's been a little better in terms of that. But ultimately, we're still competing against some larger markets. We're blessed enough. Our police documentary that we did before this immigration one, we're blessed enough to win an Emmy Award against Fox 25 and PBS and places with double and triple and quadruple our budgets, but it was enough for us to compete. And one thing I will say about our production company is I don't think anyone's going to outwork us. We're willing to go to lengths that I don't think a lot of production companies are willing to go lengths to because we're passionate about the story. So in terms of the fundraising, we fundraise ourselves for about 4 to 5 years, our own projects. I have a full-time job. I'm a teacher, so a lot of my teaching funded the documentaries. Before this, I was in the mayor's office. And in terms of funding, I do want to mention one thing. I was able to fundraise. I learned from this person. He's no longer here. He passed away. I used to work for the mayor of the city of Brockton. And I really learned a lot of fundraising from him. To be quite frank with you, that's actually the turning point in the fundraising, because when I worked for the mayor, he kind of gave me credibility in terms of being able to fundraise to the community. Because no longer Noube Rateau, it was Noube Rateau, the mayor's office. And I was able to, that actually was really the turning point. So I was able to fundraise as a politician. I was fundraising as a politician, not like a filmmaker. And I still fundraise, how political fundraise, I just learned from him. So that was really the turning point, and it gave us the credibility. And now, we've gained the credibility. We got the Emmy Award. So, we don't necessarily need to, go that route. We can kind of go the traditional fundraising route through filmmakers. But that was really the turning point. It's learning from the mayor, learning how you fundraise, making connections, and being able to prove ourselves. And the work ultimately proves the work. And award-winning documentaries does not happen without award-winning people. So that is the number one thing.
Yeah. Making the right connections, right? First of all, learning and invest in oneself. That's where you start. Investing in yourself, or surrounding yourself with the right people. Learn from others, from the right people, and pick that up. And first of all, invest in oneself. You got to invest in yourself first before others will believe in you as well, and learn how to invest in you as well. Great stuff there, Noube. Very, very interesting stuff. Can't wait to hear about the documentary I Am You, and also about the documentary Police. Want to hear more about that. We're coming up on break. Don't forget, we have Noube Rateau here with us, president of Noube Productions. He will take your questions or comments. So go to the chat if you have questions or comments for president of Noube Productions, Noube Rateau. I have him right here with us here on TalkBack Live. He'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So we're going to go into break, and we're going to catch you on the other side. Thank you for tuning in to TalkBack Live. Catch you on the other side.
No individual having the opportunity to have a better life for themselves or for their children, if they have the chance to scale a wall, to swim across
Was that a little too early?
They're going to take it.
And the sad thing is, most Americans don't know what freedom really is.
We will move forward to pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship.
They are laying waste to the very American Republic that has been the greatest country in the history of the world.
I did agree with some of the things that Donald Trump did, right? Because I do believe that there should be a vetting process.
Is that unreasonable to ask? Make sure you're not affiliated with any gangs. Why would we want you here? Get out.
The majority of the crimes that I prosecute as the chief law enforcement officer in Suffolk County are citizens of this country.
We grow enough here, we don't need to import more. If I could deport them, I would.
USA! USA! USA!
Life is so hard in Haiti or in the country that they had before, they'll take the risk of getting caught.
If you have $5,000, $10,000 to pay a coyote to bring you illegally across the border, pay to apply and come here legally.
She always said that, my situation is different, that I don't have the same opportunities as everyone else.
I'm not going to tell you about their life walk. I'm not going to tell you about how they got here. I'm not going to tell you about the journey they're experiencing. No, that doesn't matter. They.
Sooner or later, I started to get brought into meetings with lawyers.
On day one, we end a border policy which allows federal agents to snatch babies from the arms of their mothers.
That's when I realized I'm an outcast.
Where is my protection? Where is my family's protection?
I need to know who you are, because if I sneak into Mexico and I commit a crime, there's no documentation of me being in Mexico.
We come from, maybe different backgrounds, but we share similar experiences.
I am you.
I am you.
In the end, we remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
Welcome back to TalkBack Live. I have a very, very special guest with me today, Mr. Noube Rateau of Noube Productions, all the way from Brockton, Massachusetts. And we're talking about his famous documentaries and his films. And we're going to just kind of allow him to share some more information with us. He is a very, very gifted filmmaker, and we're going to just allow him to answer any questions that you have. So be sure go to the chat and post any questions or comments that you may have. Please talk about your documentary Police. I understand that you did that a few years back, and that was done, I'm not sure what year was that?
So we started filming it in late 2017 into 2018.
Okay. And tell us about that documentary.
Well, the documentary was about policing in America, and around that time, and honestly, now, it was a real controversial topic. So again, we want to tackle controversial issues. So around that time, it was Fernando Castillo. That was a huge incident over Minnesota. Eric Garner around that time. So we wanted to kind of tackle some issues, but we wanted to do it in a different way where we were focusing on kind of the national problem, but what are some local solutions? So we focused on some local Boston solutions that they were doing while really highlighting some national stories. Two reasons why. Number one, I think police officers, often don't get their side of the story told. So we thought it was an opportunity to do that. And to be quite frank with you, if we're going to be negative against police officers, we decided, let's do that on a national level for local people can speak with us. So that's kind of what we did. So we were able to connect with Commissioner Willie Gross. Commissioner Willie Gross is a historic figure in Boston. He is the first Black police commissioner in Boston. So we were able to connect with him. He was actually chief at the time, and then he became commissioner when we were in post-production for the documentary. So we were able to get him in the documentary, and he was really a big person in terms of documentary, in terms of credibility to get the police perspective. He allowed us to follow him, and kind of, we learned different things. And then we focused on some national stories that we've heard about in the news. We focused on Oscar Grant and the shooting that happened in the Oakland, San Francisco area, particularly Fruitvale Station. It actually ended up being a movie that Ryan Coogler produced a couple years before that. So we focused on the Oscar Grant story. We focused on the story of Amadou Diallo. At the time, that was in 1999, and at the time, the settlement was the highest settlement ever a police department gave to a family. And then we focused on a case in Baltimore on Kevin Cooper. Yeah, Kevin Cooper was a case that happened in 2006.
Right.
And then so we had 3 people who passed away. Then we had 1 person living, focused on a high-profile case in Providence on Michael Costa. So we focused on those 4 national stories, and we focused on some local solutions going on in the Boston area that could kind of remedy this issue.
Right. Boston, there's no secret. There's no secret about the trouble. Well, any metropolitan city in the United States have a history of trouble with police and the inner city. Boston certainly has a strong history of it that goes years back. No secret there, having trouble interacting with the inner city and creating a lot of just bad relationships. Now, I really want to get into, because we don't have a lot of time, your film and documentary, IMU, that came out March of this year, is creating quite a buzz. Tell us about that, because you talk about immigration in America, you talk about the symptoms, you talk about the problems, you talk about the solutions. You talk about the system here in the US and how it's a broken system. I loved it. I took a look at it, and I was just enthralled in it. Tell us just a bit, because we don't have a lot of time, but talk about IMU.
IMU is our most uncomfortable documentary. We want to make people extremely uncomfortable. We want to get people to show empathy and to get perspective. The documentary, at the time when we started filming it, President Trump He won on pretty much on his stance on immigration, whether people agree with it or not. That was his big thing that he ran on, was immigration. So we thought no better time to really focus on this issue now. But one thing we wanted to do that other documentaries I don't think do is we want to humanize the issue. We want to humanize the issue, and we want to get perspectives on the conservative and on the liberal side. So we wanted to speak to a former student of mine actually at my school. I'm talking about an amazing kid, Eric Hernandez. We told his story, and people don't understand that people who are dreamers, that's someone who came to this country who was at a younger age, who didn't know, that they really live with opportunities on a 2-year basis because they have to reapply, to extension. And it's not something where eventually, the goal is to get them deported. That's the goal, and that's the fear, and people don't understand that, that this is an extension. So I want people to understand that the fear and anxiety that that students like that go through. You were talking about a kid who was here at 3 years old who knows nothing but this is his home, and we're telling him to go back. So how does something like that feels? Then we go on the other side of the country, and we go to Southern California, and we talk to a beautiful lady who talks about how her son was killed by someone who's undocumented, and how they see the issue of immigration from a whole different perspective. Okay, and then we talk to someone else who talks about how his father was someone who came in here undocumented, and how it impacts him. He's deported right now. Was a drug dealer, and how does that impact the family? So we have 3 completely really different sides.
You're right.
And I think the documentary kind of finds some common ground, and one of my favorite parts of the documentary is when they all came together and they all really showed real empathy towards each other.
Empathy, yeah. It was great. And the mother whose son was killed, and how she forgave the killer, and she had a lot of empathy and forgiveness for the one who killed her son. And she really talked about, she was really one who believed in the system. I thought was quite ironic and such. But it was a great documentary. I Am You. Look out for that. If you're tuning in to TalkBack Live today, look out for I Am You. You can catch that where, Noube?
So right now we're filming, our website has all our next screenings. Our next live screening will be at the Roxbury International Film Festival. So right now we're trying to look for distribution. Anyone watching right now, listening, we are looking for distribution. We want to get this out to a network, and we want to be able to share really through the masses. So right now we're doing live screenings. We're showing it in Atlanta on June 22nd. At the National Vocational Conference for Skills USA. We're showing it at the Roxbury Film Festival on the 27th. We're doing a private screening at the high school on the 23rd. And we're going to try to show to different other schools for professional development. So we have 3 screenings in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Looking to hear back from the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival.
Right.
So we're trying to show it all over the country, but we want to get distribution, and we want to be able to get some lawmakers to watch this, because I believe, the documentary is objective, but I firmly in my heart, being at the school, I believe that people and students who are undocumented should have access to financial aid.
All right. Now that's great. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
so if you came here at 3 years old and you're paying taxes in this country and you cannot get financial aid to go to college, and you have not committed a crime and you've been a good citizen, you deserve financial aid.
Absolutely. Dennis Johnson has a question in the chat. He is awaiting an answer to the question. We didn't forget about you, Dennis. I promise you. It's a 30-minute show, so we want to make sure we cover everything, okay? So we didn't forget about you. But his question is, what then is the long-term projection in the next 5 years in regards to immigration, in your opinion? What do you think is the long-term projection in the next 5 years in regards to immigration?
Well, in terms of what politicians are going to do, I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah. What do you think they're
going to do? The same thing.
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans have both some advantages to keeping it status quo. I think what should happen is, I think we need to have a path to citizenship for dreamers, and I think what should happen as well is that we need to, President Trump made it a political issue about building a wall. I went to the border. I saw it myself. There needs to be some repairs. It's not first of all, it's not a wall, it's a fence. Okay. And number two, there needs to be repairs. Had he said we need to do some renovations to the border fence, I think people would have been more receptive to that. But he made it about race, and which was wrong. I think had he delivered, because I did see the border wall, and they do need renovations. They do, and that's his fact. We can't deny that. So if we could have a path to citizenship for dreamers and also renovate our border, I think that's fair for everybody.
What is the current administration doing? Didn't they not reinstate the Dreamers Act?
No, so right now, you could reapply to get an extension. It's every 2 years. Just reapply to get an extension. But in terms of a path to citizenship, there's still not a path to citizenship if you are undocumented. So right now it's an extension. So every 2 years you got to reapply. But that could change with the Republican president or whatever, or even a Democrat president who has a different stance. It's based on the election.
Gotcha. What a great show. We are seeing, not sure if you're aware of this, Noube, but we're seeing in the Brockton, through the Brockton cable access. So you're being seen there locally to over 100,000 viewers now, as well as other major cities all over the United States. And certainly we want to help you be able to get some access and funding there to be seen on other networks as well.
If there's any colleges, local colleges around, universities who want to do a live panel, please contact us, and we'd be more than happy to show the film at your school.
And give us, what's a contact number for you, Noube? Real quick.
The best way to contact me is go on my website, noubeproductions.com, NOUBE productions.com, 508-930-4458. That's all on my website. Or email me, noubevideo@gmail.com. All the information is on my website, noubeproductions.com, NOUBE productions.com, all one word.
I got to get down to the Martha Vineyards Film Festival one of these years. Thank you for tuning in. By the way, Sugar the Stage Play is still on. We had some changes. Unfortunately, none of, unbeknown to us, it was a last minute change. So we're still moving forward. We will have some updated information coming out to you very, very soon. Thank you for tuning in to Talk Back Live. Don't forget, keep tuning in to Talk Back Live. We'll have a brand new guest coming up for you in the next 2 weeks. Until next time, America.
Hope you enjoyed the show today. Be sure and go to our Facebook page, TalkBack, a thought-provoking talk format. That's TalkBack, a thought-provoking talk format. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think of TalkBack. It can only make us better. Be sure to check us out on Spotify, also Twitter, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are heard. Be sure to check us out on YouTube. Again, thank you for listening. Until next time, America.
You have been listening to Talk Back with my grandma on Spotify. Be sure and catch her every weekend. Oh, and by the way, my name is Kari. Bye.